And I think what I really appreciate that you've done, Dean, is like a lot of the conversations that I have around this is based around a lot of chat.
Yeah.
It's all talk. Yeah. And it's not that it's empty air, right? I think it's just basically a lack of organization. And I don't think I've come across anybody who's created this kind of a structure that we could actually see and work out how it works, because I'm very much a lay person myself. In all of this, and it looks as though you're looking at it from the clouds, looking down in terms of what's required. And I guess when our parents came to this country, they came with the intention of just being here for 5 years and then leaving.
That's right.
So
That's
to say that they were going to put this kind of structure in place, where you've got industry, you've got media, right, and you've got the community, which is the members, paying into something that's looking at our specific needs, because we're very frightened to actually say, you know what, we're black people and we've got our own needs. Yeah, and the moment we do that, we're always encouraged, oh, why don't you just assimilate? What's wrong with you lot? Why can't you just be one of us? But yet for when we came to this country, you put us into ghettos. You put us all in.
They put us in the biggest ghettos because they took us from somewhere. You see, what we were as a slave population, as a kidnapped African population.
Enslaved.
Yeah, enslaved.
Thank
That's
you, sir.
correct.
I defer to your wisdom, sir.
Yes. Enslaved.
As enslaved Africans.
Wait, can I stop you? Can I stop you for a minute, please? Aston, could you explain why you said enslaved?
Right. Enslaved means that you were put into or taken from and then captured, right?
110%.
Slaved is when you are actually born into that.
Yeah? Okay. I defer to your wisdom. You're pushing on an open door, sir. So what we were offshore. So we're like the little money laundering havens that they have, where they do their dirty business, but it's completely legitimate through their legislation. So they launder money in the Caribbean havens now. That used to be us. So you have offshore and onshore. So in America, right in your face, and that has never changed. That's why we
could talk about Wall Street and why Wall Street is named Wall Street. We could talk about
but I know your time is limited.
Yes.
So I don't want to do that. But what I did want to say is that because they did it offshore and they indoctrinated us to such a degree over so many generations, by the time we came here, we were little English. So the little English would never look at the mother and fear says she's going to abuse the child.
Yeah.
Who would think that their mother would pimp them out on the street, sell them drugs, or do anything else to them, or brutalize them? So this is the mindset we came with. But we got too much skin in the game now. As the Windrush generation arriving en masse, last year was supposed to be the 70th anniversary, and they celebrated that by kidnapping us and the descendants of the Windrush generation, asset stripping them, and then deporting them. So we're under no illusion anymore. No more black. You created that term. As Aston said, we were enslaved Africans. So now we are just the African diaspora in Britain. It's palatable for us to be called African Caribbeans. It's what we're used to. So that's why I say that as a social term. But we're just Africans in the diaspora. So that's why it's the African Diaspora Public Affairs Committee. And like I said, ADPAC aligned with Israel. We align with the African Diaspora region that represents us in the African Union. Our role is to make us monetizable to the African Union. Why? Because then we have a value. Strong Africa, strong Africans.
Okay, just stick a pin there. Right. The reason why I say stick a pin there is because based on what you've just now said, hopefully people can understand why people don't mess with the Chinese in England.
Exactly.
Yeah. Why they don't mess with the Jews. Yeah. Why they don't mess with the Asians. Yeah. Because if you mess with a Chinese person, you got in the UK, you got to answer to China.
Absolutely.
Yeah. When they mess with us, they answer to who?
Exactly.
Yeah, and that's why I know, like you said, I understand that you said that you know, you didn't want to get caught up or whatever. We may not be able to get right to the end, Dean, because this is not going to be the first or the last time that I'd like to think that you're going to visit us. Yeah.
No, King. Anytime you come.
It's just that I think we've got to break it right down, because everybody is so busy doing the 9 till 5 and coming home and looking after the children. Yeah. And just putting enough on the, you know what I mean, getting them ready, and that they don't have time to open up their minds, right, to what is required as Black British people living in the UK, what we need to do as elders, so that when our children and our grandchildren are coming through, we have this framework that's protecting them.